So I was talking to my man about some of the benefactors playing my game, and sometimes it's hard to give people a general example. So I always have to refer to my own personal story. So one of the a few things that I'm gonna talk about is what I got from playing the game, which is easier to explain. So let me just get right into it. So when I made this game and I finished completing it and I presented it to my significant other, first thing I was worried about was like telling her the things that I really wanted from a relationship. Most of the things that I wanted from a relationship, it would just sounded like stuff that an American dream, like I just wanted the house, the car, and stuff like that. But in all reality, that stuff didn't really, it didn't, that's not what I was looking for. I was wanting things that I felt like other people didn't want it. It was more personal. I wanted things that was catered towards me. So when I opened the game and I started telling her the things I want, she was kind of in awe at first because she thought I wanted like stuff that everybody else wanted outside the house. I wanted that Pandora's box type of stuff because it was personal. I felt like what you couldn't buy in the store and you really just can't buy from anybody or just ask anybody for, this person that I was with. I was going to ask them for it. If we're going to ride together, we die together like that till death do us part, I might as well ask you. And so it was a fear in the beginning of asking her for these things. And then when she looked at it like, well, if you could ask for that, I'm gonna ask for this. And I felt like, well, if you could ask for that, then it's okay for me to ask for what I want, and you're gonna do it. So let me know how to go about getting it now. So you saying that if I do these things that you want, you'll do the things that I want. Yeah. And I was game, I was sold because I was tired of being in a relationship, expecting somebody to give me the things that I wanted because they was with me for a short period of time. So, you know, when I wrote these things down and we started discussing it, because don't get me wrong, right off the bat, she didn't say she was going to do that. And in my head, I don't like no. A slow yes is better than a fast no. So you could tell me not right now 1,000 times, because when you say no, that's a definite answer. Like you just ain't moving off that. But maybe you might be persuaded or want to change your mind if you see how nice I treat you. Because I learned that most women will do for a certain dude, but they don't even know that type of dude, whatever. So anyway, to get past that, so I just was bold enough to just write down the things I wanted. And I wanted stuff personal, like I said. It was sexual favors at first, because I felt like that's what made me like the chick more, to see how far she'll go for me. And so when she did that, it was cool. Now, don't get me wrong, I was worried about the things she was asking for too, because they always ask, they say to you, well, the things you want from somebody, just be willing to give it back if they ask you for that in return. And I was all game. I felt like no chick was going to actually do some of the things that I wanted done, you know, based on how they act. And so I was afraid in the beginning to ask for certain things, but when I asked her for it, and she made it seem like they was attainable, I worked on getting it. So the first phase of playing the game, it was a trial. It was a trial. I just wanted to see if she was gonna do the little things first. So after I seen her do the little things, then it became more competitions. All right, well, if you really down to play this game like that, we're gonna play it. We're gonna turn it up. And I started bringing more personal things that was like not so easy to just get up to the couch, get up off the couch and go to get me a soda. I made it things like this. I'm asking you to do things you ain't never did for another man before. And I wanted to feel like I was the one for that person. And when she said, well, if you can ask, I could do it. And she wanted the same in return. If I could ask, you do it too. To not get into all that, I'm just saying when I played the game, I wanted what I wanted, what was ideal to me. I heard about a lot of pros and cons in other relationships, so I took the pros out the other relationship and said, I want a girl that does this, that does that. I see something my grandmother did. I want to add that attribute to that girl. So I say, I want this, I want that. And I'm telling her, it doesn't matter if you got this in the last relationship, if you got this from the dude before me or whatever, if you ain't met a dude that would ever do, you felt like would never do that for you, write it down and give me an opportunity to see if I could be that dude. And that was fair game. She was giving me a hire. It was like being hired and getting that 90-day probation to prove that how bad you want that job. And that's what when I played the game, like I learned from her, like I learned her physically. I learned that she like massages, When did you ever make time for massages? I learned that she wanted more help around the house. I thought she liked cleaning, you know what I'm saying, and cooking for me because I like to eat the food. But she was like, Dad, I get tired of cleaning. And sometimes she like how I clean my car. Something as small as how I clean my car. I'm like, Dad, you watch how I clean my car? Yeah, that's why I always ask you, can I use your car? Because when I take mine to the car wash, I'm like, yo, Dad, it ain't the things that I think that a woman wants, that society tells me that pleases the woman. It was her by telling me through this game. So in other words, what worked for her grandmother don't work for her. What works for her works for her. What I do works for her, stuff like that. So it's like I said, just learning a new love language is, honestly, I just learned more about women playing this game. I didn't know women wanted things that they so-called say men want. Like this chick wanted personal things. She said, you don't do this. And don't get me wrong, I'm not putting the things out, but it was more so between me and her. She didn't want no bag. She didn't want no shoes. She wanted to do to rub her feet. She wanted to do to make her a bubble bath. She wanted to do the, you know what I'm saying, not take her out to dinner in a movie, but to cook a dinner. Because to her, it meant more for her to do that. I'm like, oh, all right. So I got to show those attributes that my grandmother raised me with. You know what I'm saying? So it was all cool in the gang. So, like, it's a lot of benefactors. It depends on who you are and what you want in a relationship. I just know I want what works for me, not for somebody else. And playing this game, I get what works for me, not for somebody else. And the person that's playing with me, they get what they want, not what somebody else wants and what works for them. And then that's that in a nutshell. So I basically answered the question and saying a lot, but I hope some ideas came from that. Some pinpoints came from that. But like I said, when it came to personal, the only reason I talk to a chick because it's something I want from her. And instead of taking her out on a date, you know what I'm saying, having this BS conversation, I want to ask her questions about stuff that I want to know right now. Like, you feeling me, shorty? You know what I'm saying? Yo, you trying to go to a movie later? You know what I'm saying? What you trying to do for me? And most relationship guys get into a relationship looking forward to doing for a girl. Now I want to know what that girl going to do for me. And I can find out in this relationship, in this game. And that's it right there.